Hi everyone, this is Ms. Flora. Welcome to Reading Workshop. Today is Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. You will need your My Book, a pencil, and an open and clear mind for thinking. Our objectives today are I will introduce writing to a prompt. We will learn to apply strategies for writing to a prompt, and you will respond to a writing task prompt. Writing prompts tell us exactly what to do. When reading a writing prompt, it is important to understand all of the parts of the prompt before you begin writing. Next, I will show you some strategies to use when you have a writing prompt. If you apply these strategies to your writing will be complete and you will have followed the directions correctly. Strategies. Before we start the strategies, please pause the video. You will need your My Book. You will also need your reading journal, which I forgot to put on the screen, and you'll need a pencil. So please pause the video and get your My Book, your reading journal, and a pencil. Great. Now that you have all those things, let's begin with the strategies. Number 1, read the prompt carefully before you begin. This is a very important strategy. You need to read all of it carefully before you begin writing because you may start writing and then realize you're doing it incorrectly because you did not read the whole prompt. Ask yourself, what is the prompt asking me to do? What am I supposed to write? Make sure you understand whether you are being asked to write a story, an opinion essay, an informational essay, or some other kind of writing. Restate the prompt in your own words to be sure you understand it. Number 4, decide which selection or selections you may need to look back at to use in your writing, either as models or resources. Remember that we have read a fantasy, we've read a fiction, we have read a realistic fiction. So go back to some of the stories that we have read to get in your mind what type of story that you would like to write. And number 5, complete the parts of the writing process. Plan, draft, revise, and edit, and then publish. Here's your prompt. It is also on page 170 in your My Book. If you'd like to turn there and follow along with me, I'll give you a few moments. Go ahead and pause the video and turn to page 170 in your My Book. All right, are you there? Here we go. Consider all the different ways the stories in this module were told. How will you tell your story? Imagine that your school library is having a story writing contest. The winning story will be printed, copied, and made available in the library for the whole school to read. Write a short story for the contest. Use the text in this module as your models for good storytelling. And then here's where I want you to think about what you want to write. I will write a story about. Okay? Make sure your story begins by introducing the setting and the main character or the narrator. Make sure it includes dialogue and descriptions to show how characters respond to events. Make sure you use narrative techniques based on examples in the module's text. Look at the text of type of story you want to write. If you want to write a fantasy, look at Airborne. Look at the way they wrote it. What words did they use? How did the descriptions were there? They had pictures as well. So if that's the kind of story you want to tell, refer back to that story so that you can model yours after that one. Use transitional words to clarify the sequence of events. Make sure your story is told in order, like next, then, or later that day. Those kinds of things, or transition the story to the next part or to the next level or to the next time. Also, make sure you provide a satisfying ending that develops logically from the story events. Make sure that it makes sense, that the ending follows what you've been saying throughout the whole story. Let's see. The first sentence of the prompt directs me back to what I learned about different ways stories are told. The next sentence tells me that I have to write a story for a school library story writing contest. That means I will be telling others a story using my imagination, not writing facts. The next part tells me that I have to begin my story by introducing the setting and the main character or the narrator. It also tells me that I will include dialogue and description to show my character's response to events. The last part is to use a narrative techniques and transitional words and finish with an ending that ties up the story. So make sure all the events are tied together. I can't have something way out there. It's got to tie together. Okay. Remember to always read the prompt carefully so that you understand everything the prompt is asking you to do. Now, begin your story. Be sure to use the guide on page 170 in your My Book to help you with the steps. Happy writing!